beginning.
And back up long again.
Greetings, terrestrials! The date is November 18th, 2021. The Earth is in retrograde, and these are some strange times indeed. I, of course, am Cliff McCallister, the host of Strange Times Indeed, and the czar of the bizarre. Every week on this show, we take your calls to hear about the strange, the unexplained, ghosts, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings. We open up the phone lines because strange things are happening, and we want to hear about them. Things so strange, you wouldn't believe. It's almost as if we did the first 7 minutes of the broadcast without any audio at all. Somewhere out there, there is a version of Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister where that show is continuing to go, and my iPad is continuing to install the update for Twitch, and no one will ever know that we cannot be heard. But here we are, right in the moment, at Strange Times Indeed, things getting stranger and stranger, and of course, tonight we will be opening up the phone lines. If you have anything to share, we would love to hear about it. We would love to hear about it, but first we must open up with a very important note in our top stories, and this is, I mean, I've got to say, this is, it's tough to consider. Well, Steven, let's just roll the clip.
All right, rolling the clip. And back up long again. Like at some point, it's really interesting. Like right there. Yeah. Did you see it spinning?
Yes,
it's spinning.
Yes. Ooh.
It's spinning.
Like, what is happening there?
It must be, because you said it had to come closer to them. Maybe
no terrestrial crafts move like this.
It changed direction, like it spins and changed direction, even though it was heading like aerodynamically in a straight direction, like as an oblong thing. But then it just starts going. Wow.
And this is an event that had multiple witnesses. It was seen in similar areas. This was.
Yep.
Last week we covered this news story, and I've got to say, we come out here every week on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, and we tried to normalize sharing the strange and unbelievable things that we witness and we experience that we can't quite explain. And every now and again, somebody will make a claim so miraculous and then prove to be nothing more than a prankster, than a hoaxster. But not even a hoaxster that's committed to the long haul. No, just a little prankster out for bits and giggles who will start something like this up and then within a whole week, within a week, say, well, gotcha, fooled ya. It was me, Sacre Bleu. It was me, Remy Gerard. Let's get a picture of him. Let's get the perpetrator up on screen so people know what we're looking at. Yeah, this guy thinks he's real smart. Thinks he's real funny, pulling his pranks, tricking people out there, tricking innocent believers who would dare to believe that there are things beyond this planet. Remy, you know what this is? I do not think this is an accurate representation of what this man truly is. Steven, let's just show him through the aura filter.
Aura filter, engage.
Let's see his aura. There! Oh my goodness. That's it. That's right there. Now that is a true hoaxster. Let me tell us. He thinks he's some sort of rat living in the hat of France, pulling at his little science fiction hairs like he's better than the rest of us. Well, to you, Remy. That's called a French spittoon. When you smoke a carton of cigarettes in 1 hour, and then you just spit on people. That's the French spittoon. Sacre bleu, Remy. On notice, if you see this man in public, he ought to be publicly marked with the mark of a hoaxer.
I will say,
no, he is not to be trusted.
In public, he will look like this.
Yes, he will look like this. But if you can see the auras of another person, if you have that sixth sense, the ability to sense auras, well, right there, that's what you're going to be looking at. So keep an eye out for Remy if you happen to be in the French countryside. Absolutely disappointed. I'm so disappointed. On to our next top story. On a brighter note, this top story coming out of England. Ah, yes, the Brits. Folks you can trust, I suppose, because this news comes from the doorbell camera of a man from England. Let's go ahead and get this footage up. Take a look at this. Would you ever believe you would see something such as this? A triangle UFO moving through the sky. Now, this is not shaped like any other airplane. It's not moving at a speed of any other aircraft that you would recognize. Here it is in full sight, the middle of the night. A triangular UFO making its way through the sky, slowly over a sleeping town. They're out there at all times, folks. Go to your windows now. Go to your windows. Go to your windows. All right, it's a bit cloudy out there, so it's hard to get a real report on what's going on, but that's you got to check out your windows every now and then, folks. That's what they're there for. An opportunity to observe the skies. Get yourself out to look at a window every now and then. You got nothing here, and that's okay. There won't always be something there. But it's important that you're looking, because you never know what you'll see. You never know what you're going to see on your home's security camera popping in at 3 a.m. Now, here's what they said. They said they went through this thing, and the father, the man who owns the house, was an aviation bluff, and an aviation buff. Not a bluff, a buff. Very different. This is I mean, the first story, that was a bluff. This story, it's a buff. This is an aviation buff, and he checked online flight trackers and was unable to find any plane traffic in the sky overhead at the time of this occurrence. An incredible anomaly within the stars. All right, now, if you were just looking out your window, would you believe it, my friends? Would you believe it, terrestrials? Out in the sky tonight, we are due to have a blood moon. We've got the longest blood moon on record. Now, blood moon is a lunar eclipse, but not a full lunar eclipse. We're looking at the Earth getting in the way between the sun and the moon, creating a lunar eclipse that'll cover the moon by about 97%, giving it a red blood glow. Now, whatever you tend to do on blood moons, whatever you fancy on a night like this, you should know this blood moon is going to be occurring for 3 hours and 28 minutes. Beginning at 2:19 a.m. here on the East Coast. Here on the East Coast. Not the West Coast. But do that time adjustment in your head.
What time again are we talking about?
Beginning at 2:19 a.m. here on the East Coast.
2:19 a.m.
The blood moon is going to last for 3 hours and 28 minutes and should be visible from all 50 states.
All 50? From Florida to Alaska?
All 50, yes. Now, the time will probably also vary based
very slightly
on where you are in the world, I suppose. Not just because of time zone difference, but when
the Earth actually rotates, so it wouldn't be at the same time. If I just converted 3 hours, you also have to wait maybe a handful of extra minutes or something because of your physical location on the Earth, probably.
Of course. Although technically, if it's 2:19 when this is beginning, it'll be dark pretty much everywhere because it is the dark season.
It'll be
11:13 p.m. in Hawaii, so the sun will be down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sierra. All right, let's see. There we go. Our final news story today. Now, we usually do not get to show clips from the news, and certainly we tend not to show clips from this channel, but this story, let's just sit back and watch this video because there's a lot to talk about here.
A lot of meat.
There is a powerful omen within this clip, and I think best to watch it and then talk about it.
Let's take a look.
Where measles came up.
Wait. When did I mention measles?
I don't know. It was on you.
Wait, what was on me? What are you talking about? Right? Is Raymond even hearing what I'm saying? I never had the measles.
Was on you.
We never did a measles and vaccine episode. Is this a joke?
I know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It was on you. It was on you.
Raymond, I've never had measles. What are you talking about? This is stupid.
It was an episode of a show, Laura.
What's it called?
You.
What is he talking about?
It's called You.
I've never done a show on measles. I just completely give up. We got to get out
It's a show
I give up.
called You on Netflix.
There's a show called Luring on Netflix. What are you talking
Never mind.
about?
I'm moving on to Adele. I can't explain this to you.
What's he
The
talking
pop
about?
singer had an open...
Use on first.
Wow.
Here's the thing that many folks do not realize. What we have just witnessed is a naturally occurring who's on first. A naturally occurring who's on first is like a sociological cryptid sighting. These kinds of things don't happen in the wild very often. Certainly not on their own, though many times just folks regurgitating the ritual as dreamt up by Abbott and Costello. Now, what many folks don't understand about the power of a who's on first is that when Abbott and Costello did that routine, they were doing an ancient Sumerian ritual to summon a deity of confusion and chaos. And what we witnessed right there, if nothing but an omen of that very occurrence of this chaos entity coming into our world, but we might not be able to see it. But strange times are indeed occurring now and will indeed continue to occur. This right here was just the beginning, the warning, the omen. Perhaps not a warning. Sometimes a little chaos can be good. Sometimes a little chaos can be just what you need. But what it's important right there is to note that it happened on its own, spontaneously, naturally. A powerful, spontaneous occurrence of a who's on first. Strange things are happening, my friends. Strange things. And of course, when strange things happen, you can tune into Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister every Thursday at 9 o'clock. We have our Zoom line open, so if you've experienced the strange, if you've experienced the unexplained, this is your chance to give us a call. Say, Cliff, you will never believe what I have heard. You will never believe what I have seen. And I will sit right here and listen to you with open ears and an open heart, and I will say, try me. Try to make me not believe. Because there are so many things in this world that we can't explain. There are so many mysteries to the way it all works. So many unbelievable occurrences happening on a day-to-day basis. Anything is possible. Just find your weird and find the weird out there. Go, look out your window again. Look out your window again. it's cloudier than before. So there would either have to be a low-lying, unidentified flying object out there, but you never know looking into the skies at night. It might be too cloudy to see above the stars, but did you look at the tree line? Did you look over the horizon of the buildings? Perhaps there are other things out there to be sighted beyond just the things that we perceive to come from the stars. You gotta look out your windows. That's what they're there for. To give you a chance to escape for just a moment into the possibility of the unknown. Do you look out the window because you know what's going to be on the other side? Well, certainly you have a general idea of it, but it's going to be a little different every time. It's a living space. You watch the leaves. You watch the wind move the grass in the yard. It's always changing out there. You never know what you're going to find, and that's why you go to look out the window. The miraculous, the wild, the wonderful, and the weird is out there. You've just got to remember to sit back, take a moment, and look outside. All right, well, I do not appear to have any callers at the moment, so we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Stay strange, terrestrials.
That's lovely. Behold, the sparkliest, happiest, Christmassiest kitchen ever dreamt up by the Hallmark Channel. Go on, picture it. Now double what you imagine. Now you've got it. This is either a dream or a nightmare, but either way, you should be smiling.
Wait, there's going to be 2 Santas?
There's going to be one Santa, Bill. He's kind of an asshole, but he looks like Santa.
Or,
You're Tiffany's boyfriend?
in as much as any soul can belong to another, I suppose. I'm her husband. Yeah, this is awkward. I am actually Santa.
I'm Santa. I was glad to be here, which makes me Santa.
You look like Dad, old man.
Exactly.
Rolling a cyber trace check with advantage. They've got the blessing of Jesus on their side. They get a 19. They're able to trace that IP address straight to that one laptop in a camp.
We got it, Padre.
Well, what do we do now?
I don't know. They only taught me just to keep doing this.
Okay, so let's find the next murder then.
The carpal tunnel. Oh no, it's too much.
No, this is I've been wanting a promotion.
Okay.
Oh God, these keys! My carpal tunnel! Why? Oh God! Oh God! Just leave me!
We should really think about getting this keyboard replaced.
And so, we cut back to camp.
Greetings, terrestrials! The date is November 18th, 2021, and these are some strange times indeed. You're watching Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. I, of course, am your host, Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre. Every week on this show, we open the phone lines to hear from folks about the strange and the unexplained, the things that they can't quite encounter or understand. Ghosts, extraterrestrials, cryptids, all those sorts of things. So right now, right before we went to break, we put the Zoom link out, and we've got a caller right now, Sierra. She has given us clearance to bring her on. So Steven, let's bring her up on screen. Oh, Steven, get all that out of there. Nope, and now we're all gone. Okay, we've almost got you. Sierra, how are you today?
I'm a little shaken, but good.
Would you like to share your encounter with us? Is this a recent encounter? You say you're shaken, or are you just shaken in general?
Both. I went to Target this evening, and when I returned home, it started raining, and it made me think about I'm seeing you 30 seconds behind on my TV. It's freaking
Oh, yeah,
me
that
out.
can be a little trippy.
You're in the real time now.
I came home. There was, it started raining, and I'm just concerned about what seems to be a wormhole transportation something that I went through because I left for Target. It was light outside. I came home. It was dark. I couldn't have been there more than 10 minutes, but also maybe I was there for 4 hours. I don't know. It just feels strange.
Oh, yes. I mean, it sounds like Target places like Targets can be. Do you want to take your answer off the air?
Okay, whoa. I'm not sure what time it is in real.
Okay,
Am I behind?
The time on my clock is 9:28.
Right. Okay.
I have 9:28 as well. It's 9.
Okay, I have it on my phone. I know what time it is, but I'm just because my screen and my screen are different.
There's the multi-plane video sound delay.
Yes.
This happened to us in a big way one time, and it opened up a
big wormhole way.
It kind of shifted a gap, and that was when all those monoliths started appearing randomly out in the world. Yes. Oh, there's going to be a time collapse.
So, do you think that I answered my own question? That's how I get back into the time that it's supposed to be?
Perhaps so.
I'm not.
You're dealing with a lot whenever you go into a Target. Those are liminal space hotbeds.
Okay. Thank you. And will you tell my partner that when I show him the receipt?
Yes, absolutely. I'll say it couldn't have been more than 10 minutes. There's no reason there should be as much stuff on here. There must have been a time gap and a gap in creating mass amongst these things.
Yes, and draining our bank account.
You go in and you get yourself some oranges, and then all of a sudden you come back, and there's whoa, where do we get all of these oranges from? Steven, what is the time, we're collapsing the time stream on our own feed. Oh my goodness. Steven, this is going to create some sort of interdimensional rift, the likes of the powers we cannot believe. This is what happens when you air the cursed Who's on First footage. The naturally occurring Who's on First footage, it must be some sort of curse.
Oh, I'm feeling spooked. I think I'm being spooked off the air.
That's understandable. It's a lot going on.
It really is. All right. Thank you, Cliff.
Of course, Sierra, I hope you find your way back to the right timeline.
We'll see. Talk to you yesterday.
Stay strange. Oh, whoa, wowza. I felt every bounce of myself from the past come colliding into the present. And now here we are back in our time feed. This is you've got to remember now, this is for your own safety, folks. When you call into the show, make sure you turn off your feed on Twitch.
That's very important.
You'll get a feed on here, so you'll be able to see. But when you have your own feed open, it can create that sort of interdimensional rift, and that's some sort of madness that we try not to tempt. We try not to tempt because you saw the whiplash when we came back in. It's powerful stuff to lose your sense of time like that and your place in reality. It can be jarring.
It's a similar rule as to when you call in to win tickets, you turn off the radio station. Well, imagine that multiplied by a ton of video pixels.
This is why we said at the beginning of the Halloween live show, we said keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times. If you were to exit the theater at some point halfway through, who knows what world you would have walked into.
Wild.
Well, if you missed our Halloween show, you can head over to the link tree on our Instagram page, Strange Times Indeed. Go ahead and click that link tree, and in there, you'll find a link to watch our Halloween live show at Maryland Ensemble Theater's Met Comedy Night. It was an incredibly, incredibly fun night, and you can watch the show right on YouTube. So if you missed that, it's never too late to celebrate Halloween. Halloween ought to be a year-round holiday. Treat yourself to a little bit of Halloween candy every day, but don't forget to brush. Coming up at the Maryland Ensemble Theater tomorrow night, at Met Comedy Night, Oh Crit, the D&D improv show, is going to be performing their signature D&D themed improv. That's going to be happening at 8:30 at the Maryland Ensemble Theater's Met Comedy Night. Right here on twitch.tv/Met Comedy Night, you will most likely be able to watch Oh Crit right here from the safety of your own home. So if you're sitting at home thinking, gee, I wonder what that improv show is like, you can tune in from home. But please, if you'd like to see it in person, it's nice to have a live audience. If you're nearby, swing on down, pay for a ticket and support the arts. Lord knows we need it after a whole pandemic in which nobody could ever do any real shows. Get out there if you're comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, watch it here on twitch.tv/Met Comedy Night. There you go. There's the little secret. What else we got coming up? We've got, oh boy, Steven, I hear you're in a show coming up. Is this not true? Is there an actor amongst us?
Oh, Cliff. I have this little itty bitty show, a holiday show coming up that I may be a part of. I actually hadn't told you yet, but this is the last Cliff show that I'm doing with you with my mustache for quite some time. I have to get rid of my mustache because I will play a kid in a show that is for kids called Junie B. Jones, Jingle Bells, and Batman Smells. And I'm playing Jose and Mr. Toot.
Mr. Toot. Well, how delightful. Well, Stephen, we sure are going to miss your mustache, but we'll be glad to still have you with us during the holidays, I'm sure.
It's and also my significant other, Carly, is Junie B, has been Junie B for several years. This show usually sells out every show, and now we're doing it in a bigger space, so there's more people, more excitement, and I don't know, it might still sell out.
It might still sell out if you're interested in seeing our good friend Steven live on stage. If you thought, wow, I went out to see Cliff at the Strange Times Indeed Halloween live show, and I saw Steven there as well. But then you thought, I really wanted more Steven. Head over to Fun Company's production of Junie B. Jones and Jingle Bells Batman Smells. That's going to be happening at New Spire Arts, right next door to the Maryland Ensemble Theater. It's a slightly bigger space and a bigger ceiling, so there's more room for the air to go up. So go there. Remember, masks and proof of vaccination or a negative test are required because we care about keeping people safe. And our actors will not be masked, but we want to make sure that we can keep the audience as safe as possible and protect our actors. Because if you're got 3 actors on stage and you got 80 people in a house just free breathing in their direction, that's really no fun anyway.
Also, what's really great? We just found out how we're doing our COVID tests as performers today. So we're being provided all of our at-home rapid tests, and we have a certain schedule of days that we're taking them to continue to keep the audience and ourselves safe.
Yeah, there are plenty of precautions. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Some folks will say we're in a post-pandemic situation, but if you're looking contextually around, we're still wearing masks indoors. We still have vaccine mandates, and if those are still going on, we're clearly, at the very least, mid-pandemic. So live accordingly and take the safety precautions. And if you can create a system that's safe enough to house live theater, then go for it and go support it if you feel comfortable doing so. And if you don't feel comfortable doing so, you can join us right here on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight. We got Strange Times Indeed every Thursday at 9 o'clock. And of course, the Met Comedy Night programming happening on Fridays at the Maryland Ensemble Theater will be streaming right here. This is caller number 7 since February 2021. Ooh, boy, look at that. Congratulations. Thank you so much for calling in, Sierra. This show would be nothing without the callers. If people did not call in, we would not be on a quest to find all the strange and bizarre stories there are. But that's why we have this open line. All right, let's move on. Of course, we can take another call, but what I really want to talk about, this is some big popular news. Big popular news coming out of TikTok and the pop culture sphere. Taylor Swift has released Red, Taylor's version, and with that, a 10-minute music video for All Too Well, a song that was not originally 10 minutes, but was 10 minutes when she wrote it the first time, and then she's pared it down, and now she's made it longer and turned it into a music video mini motion picture that fans of Taylor Swift say point to clues about her relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal, a man who dates women considerably younger than him on a serial basis. It's a thing that you could most accurately, at best, call creepy. Jake Gyllenhaal also does not shower regularly, and if you don't shower regularly, that's to you, but they did say that the main actor who played the role that was a surrogate for Jake Gyllenhaal, because legally he could not be named Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie, but that's why you just kind of make little hints. And the actor who performed the Jake Gyllenhaal role did not shower for a month in preparation of the role, which I think, if Jake Gyllenhaal's out there saying he's not showering for a month, that's the way you got to do it. That's the way you got to prepare for that role. If you're playing a smelly guy, you got to get smelly. You got to get smelly.
Get smelly.
But this got me thinking because as these conspiracy videos about Jake Gyllenhaal and Taylor Swift start popping up on my TikTok feed, I start seeing other ones saying that Taylor Swift's Out of the Woods is a song about Harry Styles and their relationship and the time that he killed someone in a car accident, which then got me thinking even further about the clues that musicians drop in their music and the people killed in car accidents that might be secret, but then are alluded to in clues. More specifically, the way that this whole Taylor Swift thing and the way that one artist can so craftily put little clues and little bits about their lives in a song makes us think that maybe we should go back and revisit the classic, the old tale. Paul is dead. That's right, folks. That's right, terrestrials. Maybe you've heard this one, maybe you haven't, but this one's an old favorite of mine. Paul is dead. It's the theory that Paul McCartney, the Beatle, Paul McCartney, died in a car accident at some point between Help and Sgt. Pepper's. Now, of course, there's Revolver and there's Rubber Soul in between those two albums, and there's debatable clues there, but we know for sure that the first solid clues that Paul McCartney died and was replaced with a lookalike come to us with Sgt. Pepper's, which was a big stylistic shift from the Beatles. I mean, technically, a big stylistic shift from their early work. This is where new Paul really comes in. But let's look at the cover right here. Let's just go through some of these clues, because the best thing we can do to convince you that Paul McCartney died in a car crash and was replaced by a lookalike is to put the confounding amount of evidence that is just on the visuals of the albums alone, not even looking at the backmask lyrics. even though we'll surely get to some of those. Let's look at this right here. The Sgt. Pepper's cover. Right here in the upper corner. Famed occultist Aleister Crowley. Now, he might or might not come into play here if you really get into it. But let's just remember these there. Now, the Sgt. Pepper's cover right here. What are they all gathered at? They're at a lovely funeral. That's right. A funeral for the Beatles. And if you look right here on the front, this instrument is it's got 3 little sticks. 3 little sticks, folks. 4 perhaps, but less than a normal guitar, which means we're looking at a bass. And it's left-handed, much like Paul McCartney was left-handed. So would a left-handed dead bassist be buried beneath Paul McCartney's Sgt. Pepper's, the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's? I think so. Right here, we've got a strange little, like, dead baby doll. And in its hands, a toy car. Toy cars, death by car accident. It's adding up. It's adding up. Now, look right here on the inside. We got all of the Beatles. Oh, they're lovely. Oh, look at them all. We've got Ringo, the one with the nose. We've got John, the chatty guy. We've got George, the quiet boy. And Paul, the cute one. Now, if you look right here, what does this say right here on his Sgt. Pepper's uniform? O-P-D. Officially pronounced dead. That's right. It's right there in front of you, right there. Another clue. Now, if you're wondering, well, gee, if Paul McCartney died in a car accident, I wonder when that happened. Well, George Harrison is pointing to the answer right here. He's pointing to the answer right here in the lyrics of She's Leaving Home. Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock as the day begins. That's right there. That was the hour that it happened. Before anyone would be out, news gets around. They get Paul McCartney out there. They say, we got to quiet this. We got to quiet this. People cannot know that Paul McCartney has died in a car accident. The Beatles are the biggest thing in the world. If this happens, the teenagers' heads will collectively go nuclear, and there will be no next generation. They'll be wiped off the face of the earth with grief. For the safety of the world, we have to replace Paul McCartney with a lookalike. And so there was a young man by the name of Billy Shears won a Paul McCartney lookalike contest in Liverpool. And they plucked him out. They said, you got the goods, kid. You look and sound just like Paul McCartney. Well, guess what? Now you're him. And if you ever tell anybody, we're going to kill you. Why? Because we're the Illuminati, Paul McCartney. And we need you. We need you around. We need you to keep doing the thing you do, making those sweet, sweet tunes. You've got to keep the Beatles together for 3 more years, or 5 or 6 more years, depending on when it happened. The clue's right here. Oh my goodness, the clue's right here. A day in the life. I read the news today. Oh boy, about a lucky man who made the grade. And though the news was rather sad, well, I had to laugh. I saw the photograph. He blew his mind out in a car. He didn't notice that the lights had changed. A crowd of people stood and stared. They'd seen his face before. Because he was a Beatle. But his face had been mangled and muddled in the car accident. He could not be clearly identified right away, giving them a window of opportunity to find a new Beatle. This is where their interests changed. This is when things started to get weird, of course. Anyone who's listened to Sgt. Pepper's can attest this is the first of the Beatles' trip into weirdcore, but it really gets off the chain with Magical Mystery Tour. Yes, now right here, look at this one right on the inside. Right on the inside, we got a picture of all 4 of the Beatles together, but Paul's is different. Paul has a magical hat, but the hat is pushed down under his face. He's the only Beatle who does not seem to be awake, who seems to be asleep. The blood is streaming down his face because he was in a car accident. here on the front cover, Beatles written out in stars. But as rumor has it, looking at this upside down gives us a number, a secret phone number. And if called at the proper time, will give callers information about the true fate of Paul McCartney, and they will be given a location in which they can go to see where the actual body is buried. I believe this is a place called Pepperland in reference to the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. There are so many clues, so many bits hidden in the albums. This one, of course, a modern day replica that does not have the fold out comic book that has even further clues in it. But you need not look any further to be convinced than the back of Abbey Road. What's this right here? These dots, connect these dots, if you will. 3, that's right. 3 Beatles. Of course, with the Fab Four. You thinking about the Fab Four, but what if there were only 3? 3 Beatles right there on the back of Abbey Road. They were almost confessing to it. And here on the cover, a funeral procession, if you will. John is the priest. Ringo is the mourner. Paul, there with no shoes, as many folks buried without shoes. Paul is the corpse, and George Harrison, bringing up the rear, is the groundskeeper. The clues are right there, and right here, next to Paul. Now, this might not show up on the webcam, but what we've got here is a Beetle, a Volkswagen Beetle, and the license plate. Spangler is so upset about the passing of Paul McCartney. On the license plate, it says 28 if. 28 if. Now, the year that Abbey Road came out, that is the year Paul McCartney would have been 28 years old. He would have been 28 if he had not been killed in a car accident. The clues are right there. Now, if Taylor Swift can leave little bits and clues about Jake Gyllenhaal and her relationship to him, then who's to say that the Beatles could not have had Paul McCartney accidentally and horrifically die in a car accident and then replace him with a lookalike, or perhaps in some way even create a tulpa replica of him, a resurrected one, done through some sort of deep magic as learned to them while they were studying the occultism of Aleister Crowley. It's possible. Why else would he be on the cover of their own funeral if he were not some sort of dark mentor to the pop band? Who's to say? Stranger things have happened. And of course, the clues are all there. I mean, take if you will, Strawberry Fields. Give that a listen. Listen all the way through to the end, when it just becomes a muddle of gibberish and nonsense. And listen very closely, and you can hear John Lennon say, "I buried Paul." It's right there out in the open. And sometimes he'll be like, "Well, actually, I meant this," or "I was saying this." And sometimes he goes, "Oh, we were joking, and I was saying cranberry sauce." Well, here's the thing. It can't be more than one thing, John. You got to get your story straight. Did Paul McCartney die in a car accident or what? Of course, they won't tell you. They won't admit to this. For some reason, they've had to keep it a secret. Perhaps you just get too far into the con of being Paul McCartney. So, folks, I should have done this. Oh, Stephen, I missed a great moment. We should have had a picture of Paul McCartney and get him with the hoax aura as well. Because what is Paul McCartney if not a hoax of Paul McCartney?
The hoax aura lens. You know what? I was thinking about this. So there's a person that is Paul McCartney's replacement, right?
Yes,
I think
William Shears.
Right. A lot of people
He's introduced at the beginning of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. They say, "Let me introduce you to the one and only Billy Shears." And then Ringo sings "I Get By with a Little Help from My Friends," which is a song about how Paul McCartney was sneaking by, getting by as this double with a little help from his friends, the Beatles, who helped cover it up.
Right. And hear me out on this. Here's what I'm thinking right now.
Yes.
Paul McCartney, as we know him, is a super duper good guy. Cool dude, musical genius. That's how we think of this person, a hero.
Better than John Lennon did.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
What if Paul McCartney is so good because the person playing Paul McCartney continually felt like he had to live up to his role.
Absolutely.
Live up to the expectations of the idea of who Paul McCartney was, because being so successful at that age, and then like you're replacing that just.
And of course you get roped into it. You look at the footage from this new Let It Be documentary. Well, it looks like they're on the time of their lives up there. Well, even if you're done with the Beatles, you wouldn't want to keep that fun music life going. That's what's keeping your soul alive.
Yeah. That's the legend lives on.
Yeah. The legend lives on, which is to say the legend of Paul McCartney, a famous hoaxer and trickster. And if you should see Paul McCartney or Remy Gerard on the street, you give him with a big, "Hey, you hoaxer, I know you're not who you say you are. I know you cannot be trusted." Let's see if we can get any Strange Times Indeed fans to have their own Buzz Aldrin moment with Paul McCartney. Say, Cliff McCallister says, "You're a phony." And see what he does. Get all up in his face. Accost Sir Paul McCartney should you see him in public. Well, that really covers it for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Thank you so much to Sierra for not only calling in tonight and sharing this interdimensional time rift that we seem to be going through, especially when we find ourselves in a Target at such odd hours, and then everything else seems to go out of whack. I hope you found your way. You found your way in this dimension. I hope that over the course of the last hour, that your dimensional placing has righted itself in some way. And of course, thank you for backing us on Patreon. I know, Sierra, that you are one of our Patreon backers. We would not be doing it. Well, we would be doing the show if nobody backed it on Patreon, but it helps us support. It helps us get funds to get more research and spread out the love and make these cards to make the membership cards for our card-carrying members of the Inner Circle of Weirdos. If you'd like to be a member, go ahead and head over to patreon.com/strangetimesindeed. Thank you to Steven. Thank you so much for doing our tech tonight. Thank you to every one of you who tuned in and chimed in the comments section. And once again, you can check us out on Instagram at Strange Times Indeed. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/strangetimesindeed. And, we'll probably be off next week. Next week is Thanksgiving, so there's no show next week. We'll be back the week after that. In the meantime, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. If we do any additional streams or like a fun movie watch, I will keep you posted on that, because I am on a mission to rewatch all of the Matrix trilogy before the new Matrix comes out. And because the new Matrix is on HBO Max, after I see it in theaters, we can all watch it together here. We're gonna do all the Matrix movies. We've done the first one. The other two will be happening outside of the normal time frame of our Thursday night programming, because I can't spend all of December just watching the Matrix. Especially when we've also got to celebrate Prometheusmas, a celebration of the Ridley Scott Christmas film Prometheus, where we stream that movie together. So plenty of movie watches to be on the lookout for. It's going to be a fun month ahead. So follow us and tune in. Strange Times Indeed every Thursday at 9 o'clock right here on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight. Until 2 weeks from now, stay strange, terrestrials.